Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. How are you? How is your Saturday afternoon? Yes, I almost said morning, but anyway, somewhere it is morning, somewhere. How is your Saturday afternoon? Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Beyond the Limits Seniors Lead, courtesy of the Artists and Artisans Developmental Network, with the support from the Canadian government. My name is Gloria Gift Nankunda. I am your host this lovely afternoon. As you have seen, we have a speaker by the names of Mr. Amin, and I'm going to be bringing him shortly. But I just want to tell you a little bit just about what Beyond the Limits Seniors Lead. What a time to have such a conversation, especially during the pandemic, where we've been saying seniors are into isolation, seniors need these. And just to talk about that, I have here the Advocacy Center for the Elderly toll-free number, which is 1-855-598-2656. We're here to discuss and say, Beyond the Limits Seniors Lead. What are some of the challenges that you think seniors have been going through, especially now that we're still in the pandemic, but it's also during after the pandemic? What are some of the things that seniors have overcome? Because that is the whole topic that we are about. How are you? Please let us know. We are on Facebook, we are on YouTube. Feel free to subscribe and also feel free to share and to engage in the conversation. I'm sure there is a senior out there. Please let us know what are some of the challenges that you have been able to overcome in whatever discipline, whether it's in the arts, whether it is in social work, whether it is in travel, whether it is to do with work, whatever your field of expertise is, or whatever you're going through in your life. Let us know whether it is abuse. We talked about elder abuse last workshop, and now we're here to see what our next speaker is actually going to be talking about. And just to bring us on, I want to say thank you so much for everybody who has been following us. Thank you so much for all your additions at the topic being discussed, and I cannot wait for you to meet the one and only Mr. Amin Virani, who is the director of Being Effective Consultancy, and he is internationally recognized coach in the field of personal transformation for over 20 years. He also holds a master's in education from the University of London and a master's in Islamic studies from the Institute of Ismaili Studies, that is in London. He has also worked as a research associate in Tariqa Board and was an honorary chairman of Tariqa Board India for over 6 years. He's also a member of the Aga Khan Foundation. He currently resides in Toronto, Canada. Otherwise, he has been able to travel with all his programs to various countries in the States, East Africa, Middle East, Pakistan, you name it. And his programs have impacted more than 50,000 participants all over the world, and continues to offer these programs to make a difference in as many lives as possible. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, allow me bring Mr. Amini on the screen. Thank you so much for joining us once again. How are you, Mr. Amini? How are you?
I'm very, very well, and thank you so much for so many kind words.
Oh, you are one of a kind, my dear, and we are very honored. Thank you so much first of all, for your presence. And I'm from Uganda, and we at one point had a president by the names of Idi Amin. Do you know him?
I know him, and he has been my mentor.
Oh, really? In what sense? In what sense?
I'll tell you why I consider him to be a mentor once you complete.
Well, I need to know because of your relation in the names. Have you ever been to Uganda? Do you have an idea where Uganda is?
I was 16-year-old, and I had gone to Kampala to be with my aunt and uncle who were in Kampala.
Wow.
And as a student, as a young child, adolescent, first of all, it was a big risk for me to go because I'd never traveled outside India.
Mhm.
And then I go there, and I was there for only a month. But as it happened, there was this declaration by Idi Amin that all Asians have to leave by
Oh
so
my
and so date.
goodness.
And my uncle and my aunt were so terrified that they had to fly even before he asked them to leave. And they left the entire business in my hand. It was a sari business.
16 years old.
16-year-old, and I had to continue for about 8 months. And my parents had lost hopes that I'll ever come back to Bombay.
Oh dear.
And it was a terrible time, but finally I did manage it. But I am considering him still my mentor with all the suffering that we went through.
Wow.
Because only when there is adversity, only when there is crisis, only when there is a breakdown in your life, that you can achieve a breakthrough in your life.
Wow, that is
And
already, that's, I like the fact that you brought it in the sense, because that's what we are looking at, beyond the limit seniors lead,
that's
beyond
correct.
beyond the adversity, beyond the challenges, we still
That's
have
correct.
seniors in positions of leadership, and how have they been able? And I'm glad you've shared that. So you know Kampala very well.
Yes, I know it very well. In fact, as destiny has it, my daughter's marriage has been with a person who is from Nairobi. So we had gone for destination wedding to Mombasa. So very familiar.
It is such a small world. I'm very honored, sir, to have you and to
Yes,
be your
yes,
host this afternoon. Thank you
yes.
so much on behalf of the board of directors and the board of arts and artisans development and network. I thank you so much for your presence today. And please, when you think of our theme, of our topic, tell us what comes to your mind as a senior. You're not just talking, you're not
Yes,
just presenting, you're
yes,
actually a senior. What is your experience when
yes,
we say beyond the limits, seniors
yes.
lead? Please take it away, sir.
I will do that. I will do
Yes.
that. And thank you, Gloria, for introducing me and giving me this space. I'm really honored and
Mhm.
grateful to you for giving me this opportunity.
An honor, sir, an honor.
Thank you. So, can I
Yes,
continue?
absolutely.
Okay. So, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you are able to see me. And then for the next 30 minutes or so, I'll be with you. And ideally, I would have liked you to have a conversation with me, but this is going to be our introductory session. And I'm going to just stick to my presentation. And if you have any questions or any understanding or any insight about what I'm talking about, feel free to write. And then, of course, I'll be able to see some of your comments and I will try and cover it up in the end, if not somewhere in between. To complete my story about Kampala, and I think that is something that I would like to emphasize one more time. That in life, basically things happen to us, and as somebody said that when life knocks you down, try and on your back. Fall on your back when it knocks you down, so that while you're on the floor on your back, you are still able to see the stars. And the point is that life will always have problems and will give us challenges. And like I was listening to another big trainer, and when he was talking about adversities, about problems occurring in our life, he made two very significant points which I'd like to share here. The first point he made was that our life and the size of our life is determined by the size of the problem we choose to solve. I'll repeat that. The size of our life determines or is determined by the size of the problems we choose to solve. The point is, most people generally say, "Oh, I must have a life without any problems." But it is a philosophy that only an ostrich can follow by putting his head in the sand. We human beings have been brought into this world with a purpose, with a uniqueness, with a destiny which we are supposed to travel. Now, it is said that most of us, all of us, are born unique. And I'm sure you'll agree with me that you and I are unique. No two faces match and no two fingerprints will match. So we all are unique in who we are. But the problem is that most of us die copies. Most of us die copies, meaning we do not live up to the image or or the visualization that God had for us. We don't live up to that, and we die as copies, as a Xerox copy of many other people in our lives who we interact with, and we take our lessons and our thoughts and our beliefs out of their life and then conclude, oh, if he cannot do it, even I can't do it. So our mind, basically a 2 million-year-old device, our mind, our brain, is only designed to protect us from hurt. Our mind, our brain is not designed to make us happy. So whether we like it or not, because of the kind of knocks life has given us, because of the kind of failures we have received, because of the kind of rejection we have got, and because of the kind of uh, resistance that we have received in life, that now our energy seems to be draining. And we are saying to ourselves, enough is enough. I have lived my 65 years old life. Now I don't need to really struggle and then go for making more money, or bigger business, or bigger family, or anything else. Now, people who are listening to me, and chances are, if you are also in the category of elders, the first objection we must have is that we are not elders. 65 is not an old age. It is very young, given the lifespan and the average age at which people die. We still have another 25, 30 years to live very, very happily and purposefully. So, first of all, I think that whole notion we need to look into and realize that most of our life is based on what we believe rather than what is. I'll repeat this, that the way we live our life is based on what we believe about life, about ourselves, and about others in our lives, compared to who we are, who they are, and who the world is. Now, this phenomenon, some of you who must have heard many speakers before will realize that the whole thing goes like this. We were born, and after getting born, we started experiencing experiences. Those experiences then started forming concepts. So first time when I saw a dog, and if the dog started barking and probably he bit my friend after that could never ever come back near a dog. Now, in this case, the experience of getting bitten forms a concept. Now, that concept made him live the life completely away from the dogs. And then to that extent, that portion of his life was taken away. I look at my daughter. She, on the street, also, any dog that she will see, she will want to pet, maybe even kiss. And she says that dogs are the best creatures in the world. I just love them. Now, the whole point is our experiences, if they are forming those concepts are our thoughts. Those thoughts are our beliefs. Now, our life is ruled by our beliefs and our thoughts. And whether you accept it or not, whether I accept it or not, I am not living in the reality. I am only living in my thoughts. And if my thoughts tell me this is the end of the road, 65 is enough, you are now a retired guy, I will stop my life. But if my belief is such that I see the president of USA right now above 80 plus, and now he's becoming the president, and he's becoming a president with all the enthusiasm of a youth, I'm telling you, we need to also look at stories like that in our lives and then figure out that yes, anything is possible at any age. I understand the group that listens to these kind of talks are those who fall in the category of the president, uh, and then who believes that yes, we are not old enough and we can still achieve major milestones in our lives because we are supposed to live the life till the very last day of our life. I refer to Idi Amin as my mentor simply because of one reason, that when I meet now my colleagues who were in Kampala at that time, or my family members, or my community members, you know what I find? I find that they are saying we would like to put the garland on the picture of Idi Amin. Why? Because if he had not thrown us out, if he had not asked us to leave overnight with only the clothes that we had worn, nothing to take with us, and we came here with bare hands, today, we find that not only financially and socially we are very well off compared to what we would have been in Kampala if we had continued, but most important, our children have now received the best education in the best universities. We have the best possible quality of life in Canada, and then some are in USA and in UK. And we find that that kind of a choice we would have never made in our lives if our business was running. And Amin would have said, continue doing what you're doing, and we would have done the same thing over and over and over again, but have would have gotten the same results. And somebody said, I think it's Einstein who said that insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. And then they are saying we garland him, why, and we thank him, and if he was alive we would have gone and thanked him personally that good, you asked us to leave, and then today where we are because of the point being, adversity, the breakdowns are necessary for breakthroughs. Like that particular conversation between the disciple and the master, and then disciple was sitting on the shore of the river, and then he suddenly says, "Master, can I ask you a question?" And the master says, yes, my son, please go ahead. And the student says, master, will I die if I will fall into the water? And and the master was full of wisdom. He recognized what the question was and he says, my child, you will not die if you will fall into the water. You will die if you will not come out of the water. Please reflect on this small example, small story. We do not die when we go into the water. We die if you don't come out of the water. But the problem is, we do not want to go into the water because we are scared, we are afraid. Now we cannot take any more risks because whatever we have gained and acquired in life, chances are we will lose that also. So now we have stopped living our life. If supposing, if I were to tell you that I will make you such an expert swimmer that regardless of the kind of water and regardless of the storm, I will teach you how to come out of the water, then do you think you would have problems going into the water? No. The problem is we have the will to win, but we do not have the will to prepare to win. We do not invest enough time in self development, in self awareness, in personal growth, in trying to figure out how to successful become successful, ultra successful. What does it take for an ordinary human being to become extraordinary? We do not ask those questions. If we were to ask those questions, today we cannot sit calmly in our place. We would not be able to say to ourselves, oh, enough is enough. I do not have to live further. That saying which says an average person dies at the age of 25. He dies at the age of 25, but only gets buried at the age of 65. 65. Can you imagine when somebody dies finally? Now, of course, it might be 80-year-old, but when he dies, chances are, Einstein said, the tragedy of life is what dies inside of man while he lives. Tragedy of life is what dies inside of human being while he lives. So I think we need to take this particular lesson and then realize that why should we die at 25? We have to carry on and on and on. The only issue I understand is we can't take risks anymore. So I'm saying don't take big risks. Fine. But also realize one thing, that the more you will play safe, the more you will hate yourself. Why? Because the biggest risk is to not take any risks in life. I hope you're getting what I'm saying. That whether we like it or not, we are making a decision. Either we are making a decision or a choice to participate in life, or we are making a choice not to participate. But that also is a choice. And once we start making those kinds of choices, somebody said that is a bigger risk than taking risks in life. So I think the point I'm trying to make here, and because I have limited time and I cannot introduce too many aspects of this particular talk, I want to just introduce one distinction here and then talk a little more about why adversity is necessary, why breakdown is necessary in our life. Only then we can get breakthrough. So ideally, I would have liked to go through some other concepts also here. I'll just introduce them but not discuss them. And then what we are saying is that first of all, we have to continue to live by making choices in life. And you know, the best part is right now you have made a choice. You are with me, listening to me, and you have taken and given your precious 30 minutes to me. And you didn't even know me, and you didn't even know whether it will be worth it or not. But you said, what am I going to lose? Just my 30 minutes. And in those 30 minutes, I would have just looked at soap opera on TV or whatever. Why not give it to Amin? But if you are now beginning to get some value out of what I'm saying, now you'll say, oh my goodness, I should not give 30 minutes, I should give 30 hours. And that's what I do. I have people with me for 30 hours, and we learn together how to make breakthroughs in life, how to transform our lives, how to become not only successful, but extraordinarily successful, how to build a relationship and the family such that we have peace and happiness, and how do we prioritize our life, and how do we handle ourselves, whether it is fear, whether it is procrastination, whether it is resistance. How do we deal with it such that every morning when we get up, we are getting up by saying to ourselves, wow, one more day, and I'm going to go ahead and achieve what I want to achieve. Do we get up like that? Or no, we get up and say, oh no, one more day. And I don't know how the day will go in COVID. I've not gotten out of my house for the last 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. I think we need to really, really invest in ourselves, because if we can get to make a difference in our life, if we want to get out of insanity, we have to realize what are we doing over and over and over again, expecting different results. And 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 hopefully, if you begin to listen to what I've said so far and reflect on it, you will realize that it is very difficult for us to make a choice, or get anybody else to listen to us, because we also don't listen to others. But at the same time, if I promise you and if I tell you that yes, there is a way whereby when you will communicate, when you will enroll, people will not only listen to you, but actually act upon you, act upon what you're saying. If I were to tell you that, would you believe me? I think our cynicism and our resignation will say, no, 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 I've tried it with my wife, my husband, my children. It has not worked anywhere. I know what you're saying, but I'm saying there is something we need to figure out in terms of our approach. And that approach is what I'm talking about. But of that approach, I'll give you one little minuscule of the concept that I would like you to consider. Now, it is foolish to believe that there are no problems, because life is made up of problems. It is like saying, oh, I'm wearing this shirt, but I do not like the cotton in the shirt. Let's remove the cotton. Then will the shirt remain? No. If I don't like this table because the table has wood, and if I say, let me take the wood out of the table, will the table remain? No. Similarly, if life doesn't have problems, life will not remain. And therefore, the only alternative we have, only choice we have, is to live it fully and courageously. But then, how do we live courageously and fully? Because we are scared, we are afraid. And therefore, the distinction, courage is, you don't start living your life in spite of problem. You live your life despite the problem. Problems are problems are going to be there, and you will be scared and fearful. But that fear is psychological. It is just there in our imagination. The moment you take the first step, you will find that fear fizzles out. And then you say, why did I stop myself for such a long time in my life? Somebody was sharing, he had a heart attack, and then doctor said, you can't walk anymore. And for 7 years he was in that story. Just just today morning, when I was having this small webinar with people, he said, after 7 years, one day I decided, this is my belief, this is my story, and I'm not going to live with that story, and I'm going to now take a small risk and break through. And he said, I started walking, and now I'm running, and now I'm playing cricket, and now I walk even in the heat of Qatar. He's from Qatar. I am telling you, what he said blew everybody in that particular audience. He said, if anybody can do something like this after that kind of a problem in his life, even we can do, because we have got some tiny problems. But you know what is our problem? Our problem is when somebody hurts us, when we get a small failure in life, we pick up that pebble and put it right in front of our eye. We do two things. One is, whenever we get a small rejection or a failure, that somebody comes and says, I mean, you're not good looking. I mean, you're stupid. I mean, you don't have sense. Oh, why did you do this? The moment somebody makes a statement like that, we get hurt, we get upset. And especially if something that they say is near the truth of who we are, we get very, very upset. Now, when we get upset like this, first of all, we start resisting that person. We do not want to talk to that person. Secondly, we now start remembering every day what he told us, and we will keep remembering it over and over again. And that way, with that meaning and interpretation, we are bringing the pebble right in front of the eye. The stone that comes near the eye, now the eye cannot see anything but the pebble. Once you only see the pebble, it becomes a mountain for you. Once it becomes a mountain, do you think you can push the mountain? No. And unfortunately, in our life, we have friends. Our tribe is made up of people who will always sympathize with us and who will always say, Amin, yes, 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 I completely sympathize with you. You have had big problems in life, and I don't know how you cope with it. And we say, you are my true friend. But honestly speaking, a true friend is not one who sympathizes. A true friend is one who tells you, hey, stop being a victim. Stop being a victim. It is only a small stone. It is only a pebble. And if he's a real dear friend, somebody who loves you, he'll take that pebble from your hand and throw it on the ground. And then you will say, oh my goodness, this was stopping me in my life. This is what that person shared. For 7 years, I was holding the pebble right in front of my eye. And some people did hold that pebble also after Idi Amin asked them to go. But fortunately, when I meet most people, because of Canada or because of whatever reasons, they broke through. And this whole idea of adversity, let me give you a very small example before I complete my session, which is about a karate kid. And And I cannot go through more of my slides right now, except that I want to introduce this slide and then go on to adversity. And this slide says that every event always has two dimensions. One dimension is what happens, and the other dimension is the meaning given to what happens. Now, I want you to reflect and then discuss amongst yourselves, if you have family, if you have friends, and ask them. Generally, we get hurt, we get upset, or we feel happy because of what happens in our life, or because of the meaning that is given to what happens in life. And if I were to ask you a second question, to what extent you get affected by what happens, and to what extent you get affected by what meaning is given, what interpretation is given, what story is given to what happened, who's affecting you more? Now, some of you will say, no, what happened has affected me. And some will say, no, it is the meaning. And some will say, you get affected by both. But the group that will say that I always get affected by the meaning, if not 100%, at least 99% of the time, I'm telling you, listen to those guys. Because I'm right now letting you know that what happened has no power to touch you. Events happen, but the meanings which are given, they dominate our life. They control our life, and they decide whether we will move ahead in life or not move ahead in life. Like this example which I read in the book, in California, LA, we know that every few years the earthquake happens. In this particular era, when a few years ago, when the earthquake happened, just before that, there was a flood, and then there was fire, and then the earthquake. And when that earthquake happened, the next day, it took about 4 hours for people to reach from home to work. Now, there was this CNN or some reporter who was interviewing people in the car, who were sitting in the car, and he goes to the first car and he says, "Oh, how do you feel?" And he says, "Oh my goodness, I am so frustrated. Enough is enough with California, with LA. I just do not want to be here. It sucks. What is this? 4 hours I am in the queue." And he was like complaining like nobody's business. He went to the second car, and the second car, he said, "How are you feeling right now?" And he said, "I'm great." He says, "How come you're great? How can you be great in this traffic with 4 hours delay?" And he says, I knew about this. This has happened quite often. So I knew it will take 3 to 4 hours. So now I have taken my DVDs, and I'm listening to this particular language which I'm learning. And I've taken a sandwich with me, and I've done this, and I've done that. And I'm completely prepared to spend 4 hours on the road. Oh my goodness. These two gentlemen had the same event, and one was frustrated to death, the other one was fully alive. This is what probably I'm trying to communicate, that what happens in our life has never had the power to touch us. Our children, what they did, they cannot touch us. The wife or husband behaves with us, that cannot touch us. It is the meaning that we are giving to what they are doing to us that touches us. And that meaning is given by us, not by them, chances are. And we don't even wait. We don't even stop to ask, is this the meaning given by my wife when she said, Amin, I don't think you can achieve this. Is this my meaning or her meaning? It may not be her meaning. She may be meaning something else. But I take it as the meaning, as the story that I'm not capable, I'm not smart enough, because that particular belief is already inside me. Now, we do not do any work shifting the meaning, shifting the belief, shifting the thoughts. And then those thoughts create emotion, frustration. And those emotions then create our actions. And those actions give us results. And those results once again create our belief that, yes, I can't achieve anything. And we are in that circle of doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. And I'm inviting you to invest some time reading right kind of books, be in some more seminars, and then in speakers who come here. Arts and artisans are doing a great job inviting people who can show us the meaning in life, who can not just motivate us. Motivation is a very short term game, but who can give us some very very big insights when we listen to them, when we listen about the stories of people who, how from adversity also, they really really come out winners. I wanted to complete with that example of Karate Kid. I had heard this long back, and I just recollected right now. There was this Karate Kid who comes to his master, and he says, "Master, I want to learn karate." And the master looks at him, and then sees that he had a defect. What was that defect? He didn't have one arm at all. He didn't have the left arm at all. So he looks at him and he says, "You want to learn karate? Why?" So he says, "I want to participate in this competition, which is 1 year down the line, and I want to win that." And he says, "Are you kidding me? Are you serious? You want to learn? You don't even have one arm." And he says, "No, master, I've heard big things about you. I've heard that you have created miracles in people's life. Can you do that miracle in my life? This is my life. Karate is my meaning." So then he says, "Okay, but then you'll have to do what I asked you to do." And he says, "Anything that you say." And of course, then he starts training him. And he starts training him with some very, very basics only, just to protect, just to save, just to play safe, just to avoid the punch, etc., etc. He kept giving him the basic lesson for entire 11 months. The student comes to master and says, "Master, why are you not teaching me the advanced level? How will I be able to compete?" And he says, "Just do what I ask you to do." And he kept making him more and more expert, focused, and powerful in that one particular style. The tournament begins. He was good enough to beat the first and the second guy, and he almost reaches quarterfinal. And there was big news: a karate kid with only one arm comes to quarterfinal. And now, of course, people knew he can't carry on because at quarterfinals you have the best kind of competitors. In quarterfinal also he happens to win. And then comes semi-final. And in semi-final also he wins. And he becomes the talk of the town. But now he's the final guy. And of course, he had won 5 times in the past. There was no question he can win against him. And then so it happens. He starts beating him, beating the life out of him. He beats him so badly, that when he really fell down, he looks at his master and he says, "Master," through his eyes, he's communicating, "why did you not teach me something more? Why did you not make me an advanced karate player? Look now what is happening to me." And he was getting hurt and he was in pain. Now, when he looks at his master says, get up, try one more time." And he gets up. He gets up and somehow he gets the energy to once again fight with him. And in fighting, he holds him in a particular way. Now, when he holds him in a particular way, generally they know how to get out of those clutches. Now, in this case, the opponent could not come out of his clutches. And he tried hard and hard and hard, but somehow he couldn't come out. And finally, Karate Kid was declared winner, that he is the winner of this tournament. And nobody could believe that this kind of a karate expert lost in front of a kid who had only one arm. Then the kid goes to the master and says, "Master, I'm sorry that I said what I said to you. But tell me, how did he lose? I don't think I won. He lost. How did he lose?" And you know what the master said? Master said, "I taught you something, a particular a particular style in which if you hold him in a particular way, the opponent, if he has to come out of your clutches, he needs to have your second arm. He needs to have your second arm. And only if you have the second arm can he come out of you." The the advantage was you didn't have the second arm and therefore he couldn't come out of that particular clutch. He couldn't believe. His tears started rolling down. And the master said, "Adversity can also lead to breakthroughs in life." You see, we keep complaining to God, "I did not get this, I did not get that." I think we need to start saying to ourselves, "No, God has given me this body. I am healthy. He has given me the house. He has given the food on my table. He has given me good kids. I've got good family." Whatever, whatever. Somebody said, write 3 new things every day about which you're grateful, and happiness will not leave your life. 3 things every day, journal it, put it down. Actually, write it down, not just think about it. Write it down. And those 3 things will give messages to your brain, and the brain will get the message, "Oh, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this to be grateful about." And it will start giving you happiness. And it will happen that that particular thing will become your habit, that habit of gratitude. I look at my mother, 90-year-old, can't see now, and she's losing her memory. But all her life, she only taught me one lesson: regardless of the situation, be grateful. Regardless of the situation, be grateful. Miracles will happen. And I'm thankful to all of you to have given me this opportunity today to share some of my thoughts, some of my beliefs. And hopefully, in future, if we were ever to meet, you can go to my website. It is called beingeffective.ca. Canada, beingeffective.ca, and I conduct some free webinars also. And of course, I have my courses also, which are right now continuing every weekend. But when Gloria and her colleague, And Shireen told me that, Amin, can you speak? And I said, I'd love to speak to elders. I'm an elder who's not an elder, and I'll make sure the elders also don't feel that they are elders. So thank you very much. I have so many stories to share, but someday, hopefully, but just remember one thing, that if you can just stop giving meaning to what is happening in your life, or at least distinguish that you are giving a meaning, and also and say to yourself, the meaning I'm giving is not the truth, and it is not the reality, and it is only my perception, and it is only my way of looking at things, and chances are that may not be true, because it can be valid and invalid, but it cannot be true or false. And when you consider meaning as valid or invalid, the moment you will get into that particular dialogue, you will find out 99% of our meanings are invalid. And once you start giving evidence to yourself that, oh, the valid meaning can be, I am happy even in the 4 hour traffic of Los Angeles. I am happy even when Idi Amin asks me to leave Kampala. The moment you will start seeing the meaning that needs to be given, reframe the meaning, reframe your beliefs, and I promise you, your life will now take a new birth. So let's look forward to having a new you rather than changing people in our lives. Thank you so very, very much. And I will take your leave, and I'll ask Gloria to take over from here. Thank you very much.
Yes. Oh my goodness, Mr. Amin, what an amazing inspirational talk. Indeed, Beyond the Limit Seniors Lead. I love that. I think for me, I'm just going to read, first of all, some of the comments that we got. Krishna says, you are so right. We are from Uganda as well. God bless Idi Amin. We wouldn't have been in Canada if it wasn't for him. So as you can see, most of us are resonating with the stories you're giving us. Brian says, wow, very inspiring. Dr. Amin, you're speaking to my heart. And of course, that character story for me is the takeaway. At the end, he needed the second arm. It might seem like second arm. When you said it, my brain was just like, wow. And then also she says a great presentation, very motivating. Just to elaborate on some of the pieces that you mentioned, I think for me, I love what you started with. Being 65 does not mean your life has to end.
Yes.
And that is very important, because you're talking about being the notion that 65 is old, you're now an elder, that notion where that things have to change. You don't have to. And I love that, because you're saying versus life expectancy, you still have a long way to go.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I really understood that. And also perspective, when you said, I think when you gave an example of when my wife says that this is not good for me, but that is her perspective. What
Yes.
matters is how I, as a person, how I give meaning to whatever is happening to me, and
Yes.
vice versa. I am learning so much. This is amazing. And also the fact that you talked about the fact that we actually need problems, we need challenges.
Yes.
We need
Yes.
challenges in our
Yes.
lives, and it doesn't matter, seniors, of course, I'm talking about the body, the changes in the body. But at the end of the day, it doesn't mean that that is the end of you, as long as you're still here.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
I'm in awe. Like, I wrote so many notes here, and the fact that we actually have to make a choice. If anything is
Yes.
not going right, given the example of your friend who had a heart problem, and seven
Yes.
years later, he's actually running and doing. I'm like, that is amazing. And I think every senior, whoever is in there, they should. I hope they've picked a leaf, because this talk is so amazing. I feel like we could have let you talk on and on and on and on. I have an amazing performer who's going to come on shortly, and she's also a senior. She says, wow, so inspiring, empowering, and wise. So
And
Dr.
Gloria, can I
Yeah,
just say one line?
yes, please.
Gloria, you are a very powerful listener.
Oh, you're
You
very
are a
kind.
powerful listener, and you listened rather than,
Absolutely.
generally when people listen, they
Mm,
already know what the other person is going to say. We
you
don't
have
listen to
to.
people as they say,
I
and you
hear
are
you.
such a powerful listener that you are inspiring me now.
Oh, you're
I listen.
I'm very, very grateful, because I wrote so many notes. And the fact that what dies inside of a human being it's sad when what dies is inside of us, even when we're still alive. Those are powerful, and I think very needed words for today. And given the fact that we know our seniors have been in isolation, I think this gives us something to think about. And even as the young ones, I am
Yep.
taking this on. I think Beyond the Limits Seniors Lead is not just for the seniors, but I think it's also for people like us and
Right.
anybody out there who's seeking. So I want to take this opportunity to say thank you so much for joining us, for giving us your time. And I can't wait. Who knows? Maybe we're going to work together again in the near future.
Anytime. It'll be my pleasure, my
Yes.
happiness, my honor.
Thank you so much. So have yourself a lovely afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Oh my goodness. If you've just joined us, this is the Beyond the Limit Seniors Lead, brought to you by the Artists and Artisans Development and Network with the support of the Canadian government. We are here discussing what does it mean. Just because you're a senior does not mean that your life has to end. What are some of those stories that you have? You know, I've learned so much from this. Well, I have an amazing artist who's coming on to give us, you know, a bit of a soothe as we process everything that Dr. Amin has shared with us in terms of, you know, she's actually says that this was so inspiring and very empowering. So, Shelley, my dear, Copper Smith, how are you? I hope that you can get on. She's an amazing violinist, an amazing musician, I would say. And you are a senior, Shelley. I think you're muted, but just tell me a little bit about what you've had and what did you learn, a thing or two, and some of your experiences as regards what our theme is, Beyond the Limit Seniors Lead. I think you're a little muted on your screen, your microphone.
Let's see where it is. I was
There
pressing
she is.
format. Yeah. Oh man, that was such a wonderful speech. I took a bunch of notes also, and right near the what Amin was saying about listening really struck me because as a musician, I like a lot of different kinds of music, and I play main instrument. It's a classical and taught myself folk guitar in my teens, and then I went back to violin as a fiddle. So I'm sort of in between fiddle and classical music, and there's a Ugandan connection too because I used to play Ugandan kalimba player and band leader and composer Achilla Oru.
Wow.
And he unfortunately passed away. I think it's like, gosh, it's 2013.
It's been some time. Oh dear. So Shelley, tell me a little bit about what you think as a senior and in that music industry. What is that experience for you, by the way? Just to
my experience is probably maybe not typical because I've kind of flown under the radar for a number of years. Although I've played with a whole bunch of people of various degrees of success or whatever you want to call it. And in my later years, I became a subway musician, among other things, and that was in between concert gigs and different. Mostly, I accompany other singers, songwriters, and I like singing, but I sing mostly background harmonies to people. And what to say? The industry has also changed so much in recent years that now this format of people doing live stream concerts and Zoom teaching by Zoom, doing lessons. I used to do some teaching also. Don't know. I'm actually quite at a loss of where I go from.
When you, for example, just to guide you a little bit in terms of this, do you find that when you are younger and playing or busier, do you think has it changed now that you are a senior? Because that's the reality. Like, what are some of the things you've overcome as the years went by or as the years went on? Because that's what we're looking at in particular.
Yeah, interesting. Because actually, I think a few years ago, when I was already kind of, quote, a senior, I suppose, I got busier than I was a few years before. Like I had a level in between. So I'm probably not typical, but also there are things though. There was a major theater show that somebody thought I would be good for. I didn't even get to audition for it because they were looking for like a 21-year-old.
Oh, there you go. That's such an example, but at the same time, I love that you say that maybe I'm not a typical, but at the end of the day, that's what we're looking at. You're thriving, you know. That's what the topic is about. Beyond the Limit Seniors Lead, beyond age, beyond what we think, what the industry says, because you know our industry has a lot of ageism, and that is a reality. I'm talking about the industry.
Yes, it's true. There's ageism, sexism, and I mean, I'm Caucasian, so in my
Mhm.
case, not racism necessarily, although I'm also Jewish, and sometimes there might be anti-Semitism. I mean, I haven't been affected directly by it, I guess, but
Well,
so there are all these things. It's true.
absolutely. Well, I'm glad that you're one of the seniors who are leading in this case, and it's such an honor to have you here on courtesy of the Arts and Artisans Development and Network. We are grateful, and we can't wait to hear what you have to play for us. So please take it away, and thank you very much.
Okay. I actually have been having a hard time figuring out what I'm going to play, so I might end up just improvising, or I might even try singing and playing, although I don't usually do it on the violin so much. So that was a minuet by Bach. No, Bourrée. I forget what it's called, actually. It's a piece by J.S. Bach, Johann Sebastian Bach. Let's see, what else? Maybe I'll play you something a little more country fiddle-ish. second half of that. That's a piece that I made up. I wrote a while back, but I hardly ever play. But here's a little hornpipe that I wrote. I made this up when I was playing. Gosh, this goes way back, sometime in the 80s, I think. I was playing a little gig on a backyard patio, and nobody was there. And I was playing my mandolin, and I just kind of kept, this tune came into my head, and so I just made this up. And come to think of it, this could fit with Amin's theme of making lemonade out of lemons. That expression, when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. So I ended up making up this tune in my head, playing it over and over again, because there was hardly any people there at all, really. So I just did that so that I would remember it. And it goes like this. I call it the terrace hornpipe. Something like that. Maybe I'll play you one more, a little bit, and then we can see what we have to say for goodbye. Let's see. Thank you very much, Gloria.
Wow, Shelley, that was fantastic. Oh my God, I want to. I hope you've recorded that the horn piece you created. Have
The
you recorded
hornpipe.
that? The hornpipe. It is magnificent. Oh my goodness.
I haven't, but I will. I will at some point.
Oh, I am going to ask you about it. I promise.
I'm
What?
way behind in recording, actually.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you're doing great. That was so beautiful. Thank you so much, Shelley. Thank you for playing us out. I hope you have the lovely rest of your weekend. And thank you so much. I have got some Oh, yes. Bob Cohen says, yay. He says, go, Shelley. Brian says, amazing. And of course, I told you, I need that recorded. I need the hornpipe recorded. I will see what I
Okay.
can do.
Well, I'll see what I can do for you.
Thank you so much, Shelley. Have a lovely afternoon, and we talk soon.
Thank you so much, and thanks, Amin, and thanks, our tech, Brian, and
Yes.
I just can't thank you enough. This is very inspiring.
And Beyond the Limit Seniors Lead, indeed, you've learned a lot about technology. You and I were discussing this earlier, because God knows.
I'm still learning.
We're still learning. Well, you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. Thank you
very
so
much. Have a great weekend.
All right. Cheers. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That has been our workshop for today. Beyond the Limit Seniors Leaders. You've had an amazing speaker, Dr. Amin. Thank you so much for your inspiring words and for letting us know that being 65 and above does not mean your world has to end. Rather, redefine yourself. And there are so many things that you can do. And of course, Shelley, thank you so much for playing us out with an amazing tune of tunes over your violin. Great job. You're doing great, my dear. You're doing great. I want to take this opportunity to first of all and thank the board of directors for the Arts and Artisans Development and Network. We thank you so much. Our team, Brian, Marek Herman, Shireen Mandani, our leader. Thank you so much for these. And not forgetting the Ansar Foundation. Thank you for your support. Positive Community Development. Thank you so much. As well as Trips College. Join us again same time tomorrow. We shall be broadcasting these at exactly 2 p.m. as we continue to look into Beyond Limit Seniors Lead. What does that mean? What did you learn from today's talk? Keep us posted, and of course follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, YouTube, and until tomorrow same time, thank you so much for watching and for sharing. It's been a pleasure. My name is Gloria Gift-Nankunde, and until tomorrow, have a great rest of the afternoon. Cheers.